Yeah.
So if you could tell me your name.
Yeah, my name is Colin Haynes.
And how you came to be in Southwark.
Well, my first connection was, I remember when they first came here in 55, the first place I lived was Bellenden Road, 258. I was there about 6 months, and then we lived there and went to Brixton, and spent a short time there in Brixton. And then after, from Brixton, I went in the armed forces, the army. And I did 2 years with the armed force and the army, which, I don't know if you heard a place named Bladford?
I've heard of Blanchdown.
Dorset, yeah. That's where I did my training.
Right.
And then I was there, I came back to a place in Feltham, Middlesex, which I had a short break there. And also about 6 weeks in Millwall in East London, another place there. And then after I was transferred again to a place in Wiltshire, Wiltshire Bulford camp, which was very encouraging. These places. Oh yeah, Feltham was my last camp, which I get discharged from there after spending 2 years in the armed forces. And after I came with the armed forces, I went and joined the post office. And I worked in the post office from 60 until 97. My full service there, the post office, which I say it was very encouraging. It was a blessing to me.
Yeah.
I speak of myself.
Yeah.
Working in the post office was a blessing to me. Life changed with me, and I was able to build a foundation for myself through my working. Because when I say that, it was plenty of overtime if you want to work it. And I was willing to work overtime because I needed money.
Yeah.
And I worked long hours. And especially at Christmas time, it was sort of compulsory, like from November to December, which you would have to work 12 hours a day or 12 hours a night because it's excess mails that was going through, parcels and letters at that time of the year, which was there, anything like that. And then after I came with the armed forces in 60, I met my wife Coral in 61. And we got married in 62. And we have a couple of kids. My first boy born in 70. And the second one was in 72.
It sounds like you've had a career that you really enjoyed and you really appreciated as well, because it's given you everything that you wanted.
Yes, it
Sounds
did.
like,
It did.
You worked for the post office,
Yeah,
but where was it?
Oh, the post office, I moved to then we had a place there in Old Kent Road. I worked there for quite a while. And then after you work at Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant.
I worked there for Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
And after I leave Mount Pleasant, I worked at 9 M's, another post office.
So the really big depots.
Oh, they're big places, yes. Because in that time, you had a choice. I think it was every 2 years, if you want to change from one office to the other or some reason, you could always put in, if there's a vacancy, you would get it. So, as I said, my first one was Old Kent Road. I can't remember how long I stayed there, but then after I leave there, I went to Mount Pleasant for quite a long time after working there. And then from Mount Pleasant to 9 M's. And I spent my last time at 9 M's there, the post office. So I was able to get around there. And as I said, the post office was very, very good to me. Maybe I was very, very good to them too. So it works together. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes.
Hello, did you?
Do you have friends who worked for the post office?
Do I?
Friends.
Friends?
From the post office?
Friends in post office?
Yeah.
Yes, I had my cousin, I had a few cousins in post office. Plus other friends who, in fact, it was my cousin who encouraged me to join the post office because he was there before me.
Yeah.
So he encouraged me to join this. So it was good, yeah.
So when you came over, I think you said in 55.
Yes.
What was it like? What was the experience like for you coming from Barbados to London? What was that like?
Oh, it wasn't, how could I put it? It wasn't what I expected. It was something different to what I have myself experienced, anything like that. But as I said, I survived.
You did?
Yes.
You did?
Yes, boy, so that's
And,
why.
and you've obviously got used to the cold then? Because most people say the cold really affected them. And the closeness of the housing was very close together.
It's just the living condition and thing. I couldn't settle down there. But the weather was awkward in the right, yes. So, because I remember doing my training at Blandford in Dorset, out in the countryside. It was terrible there. And at that time, you didn't live in a walled place like that. It was hot, that big board and shingle place. So it was very, very, very cold. So and it's all big open field.
Yes. So it sounds like when you arrived in London, you saw everything, but you just got on with it.
Yes, I said I didn't have, seeing what I see, I said I had no choice but to stay. I couldn't run back there to where I come from. So by that, I think I built up myself to everything and overcome those things. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you have a picture there.
This picture.
So you come to Copleston regularly?
Yes, but since the lockdown, we don't meet so regular as we used to meet before. But Copleston.
And what do you like about Copleston?
With church,
what do you like about coming here?
Well, I met up with someone, especially Victor. I never knew him before. I met with Victor, but I know he came and thing before. And another chap who was there, he used to work on the buses with us. Did you?
Right. Huh? This Roy and and I not remember, can't remember his name now.
Yeah. And Roy by next door neighbour, so we get on well. Yeah.
Social. Social.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any other questions?
What's the picture?
Yeah. What's the picture?
Show us the picture.
Show us it.
Hold it up.
Now what's the
This is domino. This is dominoes.
We play dominoes in the kitchen over the other side.
Oh.
Is that you there, or is that somebody? Is that you?
No.
Yeah.
One side.
That one.
Which one?
Yeah, that's
that
one.
one.
Yeah.
That one. Yes.
And your red shirt is me.
Yeah.
The one that's-
That's
I can tell you.
Yeah, we were playing dominoes in the kitchen over the other side. That's where we used to play dominoes.
How long is a dominoes game? I don't know.
How long is a domino game?
Well, we spent about an hour.
Yeah.
An hour.
We spent about an hour after the soccer exercise. But the actual, a game of dominoes can last anything up to about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
About 10 minutes, so in that hour we can play about 6 games or so.
And you enjoy dominoes?
Yes, I do. Yeah. I play a lot.
Do you do the soca dancing as well? Do you do soca dancing? Soca dancing?
Soca dancing.
No. You're not up for that.
No.
I like it. It's good. He's the expert in the front row. He's in the front row, man. He's the teacher's pet, not me.
Just something that come to mind, if I could ask you too. What did you do for leisure? What was your? What did you do in your spare time, if you had any spare time?
Well, I didn't have much spare time because we're not a couple of kids, and most of my spare time I used to be someone would want me to do something. And that time you had to do your own repairs on your cars because it could be very expensive thing. And plus I was a mechanic before I leave home, so I was able to help out certain fellas with their cars and such forth like that.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time doing some sort of repairs.
Did you not miss being a mechanic when you came over?
Yes, in fact, my first job was at the mechanic place in Kingston, and the journey was travelling too far backward and forward, it was a journey. So I think I stayed about 6 months, and that's where my cousin invited me to leave there and come and join the post office.
So you used to work on your own cars then, as a way of keeping your hand in?
That's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. It's lovely. Have you got any other questions? No. Thank you so much
Thank you.
Yeah.
for sharing.